If you need an explanation for how far-right propaganda works in America in the year 2023 to anyone, it's appropriate for anywhere. Like, Putin doesn't know about this way yet, so it's even something you can get away with in Russia for a bit. And also in other kinds of authoritarian countries like North Korea. If you want an explanation for how this kind of propaganda works, that you can just say to anyone, and like say you have a 5-year-old, you need to explain to them like they're 5 or they're actually 5. It's still appropriate. 4, 3, when they're too young to have access to technology, to type things in Google. They just have this giant tablet with big buttons because their hands are really small. Uncle Ted is just saying weird shit. And they actually swear because it's that messed up. They have to be that emphatic. It's like this. Okay, say you have a party with your Episcopal church group buddies. You're having like a furry singles mixer for your Episcopal church. Do not act like this isn't a thing that's ever happened. This is the Episcopal church we're talking about. And while they're having drinks, watching anime, dancing to the music, it's all around this split-level house, and you have your dog. It's your dog, and your dog is pawing at the door. He needs to go out. And there's a little park in your neighborhood where you prefer to do that. But, it's getting really loud, and this is during the day, and yeah, there is some oh whoa going on downstairs, but you know what? You want to take your dog out for a walk. And your furry friends are welcome in this hypothetical furry neighborhood, and some of them are also walking in the park as well. It's a really big party for a really big Episcopal church somewhere in a neighborhood with California split housing, something that you would only really get away with in Minnesota with that kind of neighborhood made by someone like this. Anyway, you're doing that, and you decided, I'm not just going to walk the dog, I'm going to have her play fetch with the Frisbee. I'll do that, and then I'll take my husband and do that with him as well. So you and your husband are playing Frisbee fetch with your dog, and one of the fursuiters is also walking in this park in this hypothetical scenario, or maybe it's just a guy that's also just walking around. It's a guy. He wasn't invited to this party. And just out of nowhere, he takes a snapshot of you and this dog. And you don't really mind. You're not a massive jerk. You just let it happen. Maybe he is just wanting to share a fun moment on the internet. Maybe he wants to do a wholesome TikTok. Ain't that an oxymoron? Just you and your dog playing Frisbee. And you go back, the party concludes, you end with a prayer to the Lord Almighty Daddy Jesus, lover of all. And a week passes. Then suddenly, around town, but not in your neighborhood yet, you see these posters for a lost dog. And it looks just like yours. You don't pay any mind to it because this is a common breed. Like, this is a small mongrel with like Chihuahua characteristics. You and your dog are not that unique. Well, you're that unique, of course, because you're a furry that goes to an Episcopal church that holds wild furry parties and ends it with a prayer to demonstrate how powerful the forgiveness of Christ is. Yeah, let's go with that. But dog's not that unique. It's just small Chihuahua-looking thing, and that's the trend these days. Some people really want a small dog that they can take care of, lasts a long time, and is durable. Sort of like Nissan Altima, but no, even better, a Ford Fusion. A dog that lasts a really long time and is reliable and never ever has freak things go wrong with the dog. And you see the poster and it's like, oh, I have a dog that looks like that. And unfortunately, the dog is not holding your unique frisbee. The dog has a reward for 10 grand. So you assume this is actually another dog. Then another 3 days pass. Jesus doesn't return this time. Better luck next time, I guess. And you hear on the door. You open the door. And you see your neighbor. The guy that is your neighbor in the neighborhood. Except no. It's his wife. You open the door and it's like, well, hey, how's it going? And you're friendly to her, in a natural human sense because she is a woman. At least with her voice. And it's a really soothing voice. And you open the door. She has to come in and just wants to have a little chat. And another thing you didn't notice, because you're not the most self-aware man of your surroundings, her husband came in behind her. And he is hiding around on purpose. I think you see where this is going. The woman you just invited in is accusing you of stealing her dog. She never had a dog like this, of course. This is your dog. But then she points over there and says, hey! Hey, there she is! But it's your dog. It's not her dog. But she doesn't care. There are two ways to go about this kind of situation. And a trap a lot of very logical people tend to fall into is going with the facts and trying to explain that this is your dog and not hers. And just as in this hypothetical scenario, so it is with politics. You're talking to crazy. This is never going to work. And there are no cops at this. Yet. They are not involved. It's just her and her sneaky husband accusing you of stealing a dog. Your dog! That was never stolen. You got that dog from a shelter. And this is the trend in this area, to get a small dog that's slightly bigger than a Chihuahua so that it lasts a long time and is durable. And it's part of your family. And you have kids in this house too. But now this lady's just screaming, hey, you stole my dog. Give it back. Why would you do that? How could you be so rude? I'll even give you 10 grand. but it's your dog. You paid like $1,000 at the pound to get the rights to own it, to have the background check, to pay for the maintenance of other dogs in that no-kill shelter. And here's this lady screaming at you that this dog is actually hers. And if you try to unravel that with facts, she's only going to get more upset. And that's the trap that progressive-minded folks tend to fall into. But you're smarter than that. You do what you are supposed to do the whole time. You go straight to Z. You skip the middle step, go straight to Z, and say to her, you are a miserable, attention-seeking loser. I know why you are doing this. I know who your husband is. And that's when her husband, hiding in the shadows, thinks, oh shit, and stops the recording. You go straight for her voltage. You don't care about the amps and where they're going. No, you go straight for the voltage. You go straight to what is driving them. They want attention. They believe that this scenario will get them enough attention and sympathy to get back at you because you didn't invite them to your party. These neighbors also happen to be part of the same church, and the reason you didn't invite them was because they're homophobic and think that furries are icky, and at least claim to believe that they are putting litter boxes in schools to accommodate them. You don't really know if they actually believe this, but it is more likely than not that they are saying this and sharing this for attention, for likes, for eyeballs, and for money. That is how far-right propaganda works in America, and this is also a thing that happens in other countries, such as Canada, like with Jordan Peterson, and you have influencers in Europe and other places with an internet connection. Most of which have a faster internet connection, except for Canada. And this is just how they get the kind of attention that makes them famous, potentially for months, and in some cases for years. They want to make you out to be the monster. They want to claim that you stole her dog. But the first thing out of your mouth is, you are trolling for attention, something like that. And then you ask, why are you doing this? What is the point? Are you not ashamed of yourself? That is the reverse card they're not expecting. They are expecting to rile you up and to feel rushed and overwhelmed and just say stuff like, hey, no, this is my dog. What are you doing? What the? And, you know, if you're gonna be defensive, it's almost a guarantee that they're gonna get away with what they're doing. If you're acting all defensive and just using fact after fact, like, and you try to explain, I got this at the shelter, but they already have a lie cooked up. Like, haha, no, you didn't. I was at PetSmart. This dog came from PetSmart, and they have these doctored photos, these generated images of the dog. This was all planned well in advance. If you try and fight your this with their this, you're going to lose every time. You're just going to go in circles. And then they're going to fill in blanks with lie after lie. Because there is no gotcha. And at this point, this is a family of pathological liars. But if you hit them here, that's when it all falls apart. You tell them that they are whoring for attention on the internet. That you welcome them in. And then they treat you like this. Now suddenly, they look like the bad guys. Wasting your time. And just going in and saying that, and then cutting the video there, you don't really have enough context. It's way more difficult to convince people with that and then suddenly do deepfakes. Because if you go for this, even if they try to do that, you can say, lol, lamau, you're using deepfakes. I ran this through prompts and got similar results with this text, with this AI. You try and hit them with knowledge, they're going to hit you with lies. But if you hit them with a deflection, a complete deflection, you hit them with the Uno reverse card, you start asking some questions. Like, you say, like, I know why you're doing this. You hit them with the motivation, the voltage, and you turn it back on them. They're going to feel overwhelmed. They don't have enough of this up here to keep that voltage going. And it'll ram them in the chest here. It works pretty much every time. When you're dealing with the far right, or when you are dealing with any authoritarian mindset, all of which are just plain wrong. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I didn't need an AI. This just came up while I was at work putting medical stuff together, and I was just like, oh, that's an interesting way of thinking about it, and I figured I'd share this with you. Feel free to share this with other people, and this one is pretty modular. Like, you can put a cat, you can change the descriptions, you don't have to mention that it was a furry rave at an Episcopal church with OWOD going on downstairs. Yeah, that is how you explain extremist propaganda, especially far right, which is the most common here, without having politics involved at all. And as always, subscribe if you like, and share if you care.